Okay, today's story is the Ghost's Bride. The Ghost's Bride. Ghost is a person who died but comes back as a spirit. And bride, well, Japanese people act like this when it's a ghost, but I don't know how the Western people express what a ghost is like, but we do, like a ghost. That ghost's bride is a person, it's a girl, bride is a woman who is at the wedding day, the woman at the wedding day is a bride, okay, the person who is going to get married. Okay, good. Okay, it's a Chinese story. A long time ago, many years ago in China, about 300 years ago, there was a girl. And this girl was probably about 16 years old, okay? She lived with her mother, and there is no father. So she lived with her mother. There's no father in this story. Lived with her mother in a house, okay? Now, one day the mother said to the girl, I want you to go to the market and get me something. I don't know what it was, maybe rice or beans or carrot, the vegetables or something. So she said to her, go to the market and get something. But she said, when you go to the market, don't walk slowly. Walk fast and go straight. And after you buy things, come back immediately. Come back immediately. Immediately means right away. Don't go this way and that way. Don't go and talk to your friends. Just come home right away is immediately, okay? So the mother said to the girl, come home immediately. The girl promised. She agreed. She said, okay, I will come home right away, immediately. Okay, right away. Right away means right now, or right away means soon, very soon, immediately. So she said, I'll do that, she said. And so she left the house, okay? She left the house and she went to the market. Here's the market. Okay, she went to the market. And she went to the market and she bought whatever the mother wanted her to buy. And she was going home, but she didn't want to go home. Because she knew when she went home, she had to do many other things. Like she had to wash dishes. She had to wash the clothes. She had to clean the house. She had to scrub the floor. She had to polish the windows and things like that. And so she didn't want to go home. She didn't want to work at home. And so she did not keep her promise. She did not go home immediately. She did not go home right away, but she went to a park. She went to a park to play because in the park there was nice things like a swing, a slide, a jungle gym, and a place where you can play up in the sandbox. And there was nice river in the park, and it was a really nice day. The sun was shining, and it was a sunny day, and the sky was blue, and it was a very nice day. She didn't want to go home. She wanted to go to a park, so she went to a park. She went to a park, and she played here and there, and finally she came to the river, and she sat down by the river, okay? Now, there was this flat stone. Flat means just like this, flat, okay? Flat, not not up and down, but a flat stone, and there was this river or water there. So she sat down. Here's water. She sat down on the flat stone, and before she put her feet, because she was wearing the shoes, socks, but she took off her shoes, okay, and she took off her socks, okay, and then she had bare feet. Bare feet means this is bare feet. No shoes, no socks. This is bare feet. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2 feet. She had bare feet, and she put she put in the water, and it felt good. Because it was a sunny day, and it was becoming warm, and so she put her bare feet in the cold water, and the feet felt very good. So she began to move her feet in the water, and then she splashed water. Splash, splash, splash means water. Splash. She splashed water, and then she moved. This is toe. These are toes. She began to move her toes. Move her toes. She began to wiggle. Wiggle her toes. She was wiggling her toes, and she was splashing. She was moving her feet and splashing water, and she was having fun. But soon she felt strange because her feet began to feel very heavy. She couldn't move the feet very fast anymore. The feet became heavy, and it became very difficult to move her feet. So she pulled her feet up. Okay, this is water. So she pulled her feet up, and she began to rub her feet on her legs. Rub. Rub. She began to rub. Okay, she began to rub her feet, but strangely, she didn't feel anything. And so she began to hit, but she didn't feel anything. The feet and legs were numb. Numb means don't feel anything. You hit and you pinch, but you don't feel pain. The feet or the legs felt numb. Okay? She was very, very afraid. Oh no, she felt, what's going on? She was very afraid, and she was very worried. She was worried. She was worried, and she was afraid. And so she thought, maybe I will just lie down here and I will see what will happen. So she lied down. Okay, she lied down, and she was thinking, but she became so worried. She became anxious. And she felt very, very uneasy. She didn't feel easy. She felt uneasy. She was worried. She was afraid because her feet were not moving. And so she began to shout. She began to shout for help. She said, "Help, help." And then people came and they said, "What happened? What's wrong with you?" People came and said. She said, "Please take me home. I cannot walk." So these people lift her up and took her home. And then the mother said, "What happened?" Mother said. And the girl said, "Mother, I'm sorry. I did not keep the promise. You told me not to go anywhere, but I went to the park and I put my feet in the water and I was splashing water and I was wiggling my toes, but then soon my legs became very, very heavy and now they are numb and I cannot move them and I cannot walk anymore," she said. "Mother, I'm sorry. I did not keep the promise, but help me," she said. "Help me." So Mother said, "All right, I'll go see the park and see if there is anything wrong." And so she went to the park and she looked and looked and looked. She went to the flat stone water. Yeah, there was this flat stone. She came to the flat stone and she looked. She looked at the flat stone, but nothing was unusual. Everything looked the same, nothing not strange. It's the same always. And she didn't know there was anything wrong with it. And so she went home. She went home, but the girl was in bed and she couldn't walk anymore. And she said, Mother, I can't walk, help me." So Mother thought, maybe I will go and ask my friend. My friend is much older than I am. Maybe she may know something. And so the mother went to talk to her friend, an old woman. She went to talk to her old woman. And then this woman said, "What happened?" And so the mother said, my daughter cannot walk anymore." Mother said to the old woman, "My daughter went to the park and she sat down on a flat stone and she was splashing her legs, splashing water with her legs, and she was wiggling her toes and she was playing in the water, but then soon her legs became very numb and she can't walk anymore." Mother explained to the old woman. The old woman, she clicked her tongue. Click. She clicked her tongue. She clicked means made sharp noise with her tongue in the mouth. Okay, she clicked her tongue and she said, "Oh no," she said. "Oh no. Oh no," she said. So the mother said, "What's wrong?" The old woman said, "Your daughter, when she sat down on the flat stone, she sat down on a, there was a, man. There was a dead man's, a dead man was buried under the flat stone. It was his grave. The girl sat down on the dead man's lap. Okay, this is a chair, a man, and this part, this is lap. Okay, and so the old woman said, "Oh no, your daughter sat down on the dead man's lap. Now this dead man wants to marry your daughter." Mary, okay? Mary is dun 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 dun. So the dead man wants to marry your daughter. Mother said, "Oh no," she said, "I don't want my daughter to get married to a ghost." And she said, "Well, take some food, take some paper money, and burn some paper money. Lit a fire, lit a fire, and burn the money, and bring some wine to the dead man." And so mother said, "Okay, I will do that." And so the next day, mother went to the flat stone, okay, water, flat stone, and she brought flowers. She brought flowers. She brought paper money, and she brought some food. Okay, she brought flowers and paper money and food to the flat stone, and she put the flowers there. She put the food there, and she burned. She made a fire. She made a fire, and she threw the paper money there. So she burned the paper money, and she prayed. And she said, "Oh, please do not bother my daughter. My daughter does not want to marry you. Please leave her alone." She asked the dead man. She said, "Please don't bother my daughter. She does not want to marry you. Please leave her alone," she said to the dead man. Well, the mother was going home. Mother was walking to go home. When she was walking, she saw shadow. She saw a shadow of her own because the sun was here. So the sun was shining, and so she saw her shadow in front of her. Okay, but there was two shadows. There were two shadows in front of her. So she turned around to see who was behind her, but there was nobody was behind her, but there were two shadows. One was hers, and the other was the ghost's shadow. So she immediately, right away, she picked up a stone, turned around, and threw the stone at the ghost. But shadow followed her. She was home, she came home, but then there were two shadows. The shadow followed her to her house. Now, when she came home, the girl said, Mother, she said, I don't want to marry a ghost. She said, Mother, I don't want to marry a ghost. Help me. Mother didn't know what to do. She wanted to help her daughter. That night, she was sitting in her kitchen. She was sitting in her kitchen, okay? She was sitting in her kitchen, and then suddenly a shadow appeared on the wall. She was angry with the shadow. She was angry with the ghost. So she took a knife. Doesn't look like a knife, does it? Okay. She took a knife and she bang threw the knife to the shadow. But the shadow moved. The shadow moved to the ceiling. So she threw another. She had many knives in the kitchen. So she threw another knife to the shadow, but the shadow moved. And so all night long she kept throwing a knife to a shadow, but the shadow jumped and moved and danced. And by the time it was morning, she was very tired because she could not win she could not win this battle with the ghost. By the time in the morning, she was out of breath. She was panting. She was panting. She was out of breath because she moved around throwing a knife all night long at the shadow. And so she was very tired in the morning. She had no idea what to do to help her daughter. So the next day, she went back to the old woman, another old woman, her friend. She went to her friend and she said, "What can we do?" And then the old woman said, well, because mother felt helpless. She didn't know what to do. She felt helpless, and so she said, I cannot do anything by myself. Could you please help me? What else can I do? What else can we do? And she asked the old woman. Okay, she said. The old woman said this. All right, she said. The ghost, he wants to marry, but it doesn't have to be your daughter. Anybody can do it. She said, it doesn't matter who it is. This woman said, let's go ask someone whose daughter already died. And so the old woman and the mother went to a family. This family was a father and mother and a daughter, but this daughter died. And so they went to this family and they asked the father and mother, "Excuse us, I hear that your daughter died a few months ago." And, they explained about this ghost. And the ghost wants to marry their daughter who is still alive. And so they asked them if it's all right the right for the ghost to marry their dead daughter. My father and mother were very kind. They said, okay, that's fine, because our daughter is already dead. So what they did was they arranged a wedding ceremony. They arranged a wedding ceremony. Wedding ceremony. And so what they did was they prepared a sedan chair, and they prepared a wedding dress, okay? And then they prepared, can you see, a washing basin, okay? Sedan chair is like this. It's a chair, let's see. It's okay, and someone carries it, okay, and then somebody gets in here, and so 4 people carry this box which has a chair inside, and so important person sit inside the box on a chair, and these 4 people carry this thing. This is called a sedan chair, okay? Because they didn't have a car yet, so they did it this way. But anyway, so it's 17th century and 18th century, or something like that. So they prepared this, and they prepared this, yeah? And they went to the girls' grave. They went to the girls, there was a grave, yeah? The girl is dead, okay? And they had a tombstone, and so they came to the place with a sedan chair, okay? And they put a beautiful wedding dress in here, and they said to the dead girl, please get in the sedan chair. And then they took the girl to the flat stone. They took the sedan chair to the flat stone. On the flat stone, they put a basin. Basin is like a bowl, okay? It's like a bowl, and there's water inside. So the bridegroom, okay, the girl is a bride, and the man is a bridegroom. Okay, let's see. Groom, okay? Groom is a man. So the bridegroom can wash his face in the basin. Well, they brought the basin here, and they brought the sedan chair here, okay? And they had the wedding ceremony. They put the flowers there, and they put the wine, and they burned the paper money, and they put lots of food there, and they prayed, and they sang music, and they did the beautiful wedding, okay? After the wedding, they looked up the basin, and they were surprised, because the water in the basin was dirty, as if somebody had washed his face. And so the mother thanked the girl's mother and father, thank you, and then she went home. When she came home, this girl was standing in the doorway, right here, yeah? She was standing in the doorway, and she said, Mother, welcome home. She greeted her mother, and she said, Mother, I can walk now, she said. She said hello to her mother. She said, Mother, welcome home. I can walk now, she said. And so mother was very, very happy to see her daughter, and she could walk again now. The end.